Okay, and now we're on to techniques question 1 part D, where there are 3 marks. So this now has asked us to look at the project scenario about requirements, and it's going to be looking at detail of those requirements through the life cycle. Right. So the other thing to note here, it says true statement. So the first thing is that they're adding extra information here in your answers. So you will not find this information elsewhere. It is new information, but it's also true. So don't try and clarify that it's a true statement, because you won't find anything about it anywhere else in the scenario. So take it as extra information itself. So let's go and have a look at those, and you may need to refer, well, you will need to refer to the project scenario, but it's all about detail and levels where we're doing things. So note that there are 5 answer statements, so we need to have 2 options, as you are reminded here, and above 2, only 2 statements. So here we go. We're looking at the requirements feasibility. Now remember, feasibility, very high level, might have 1 to 5 to 10 requirements. So very broad view of the project at this point in time. Very small number, but large requirements. So let's have a look. The font size, less than 10 point. Well, this is far too small. This is going to be down in evolutionary development, so this is not a feasibility requirement. The inclusion of a stock item as a must-have. Now, remember, when do you start prioritizing in earnest? This is during foundation, so that is not a statement for feasibility. There will be a catalogue of current items for sale at the Geneva event. Well, this is quite high level, so that is certainly going to be an answer here as C. Sample photographs of each stock item should be selected by the graphic designer. Well, again, this is getting very detailed, and it's actually a description of something. It's not even a requirement. It's a description of the approach, or something that will be looking at how we pick out the different sample photographs. The product types sold by the new company are to be included in the catalogue. Well, that's also a very high level view. Hopefully it's the answer, because there aren't any others left. So at this point we should be having C and E, and hopefully that's what you got as well. So okay, you need to rewind back to this. So go back to where I started talking about B. Each catalogue should be stapled in 2 places along the spine. Actually, let's start question 2. I'm going to do question 2 again, so just wean back to when I start on question 2. Okay, so two options describe the requirements to be captured in foundation. So we're looking at a bit more detail here as we break down the requirements. So here, the catalogue should have an index to allow customers to search and find specific items. So this is a reasonable detail of requirement at this particular point for foundations. So that would be a good answer at the moment. Each catalogue should be stapled in 2 places along the spine. Well, this is the detail we'd start looking at this solution development time boxes. So this would not be a relevant detail at this particular point in foundations. A professional, consistent, coherent message must appear on all externally presented media. So this is quite a broad-reaching requirement, not as high as you'd find in feasibility. We're breaking it down a bit more, so that's a good requirement here for foundations, the right level. The next 2 are very much down at the time box levels, because these are looking a bit more specific. So a photograph of the shop with staff standing outside it, and a photograph of the refurbished shop should appear on the contact page of the catalogue. These are details that will be decided on and sorted out in the development time boxes. So the answers here are A and C. Two options which describe requirements that should be captured during the SDT. So I'm reading out the level of detail at the moment, right? The company logo should appear 10 from the corner of each page, and the paper should be 100 grams. So these are quite small details. Therefore, these are things that will be appearing in the solution development time box. C, a professional, consistent, coherent message. Well, we saw that was above. We already agreed that's in foundations. That doesn't answer either. A visual representation of each stock item will like to make customers want to buy them. That's more of a description and expectation rather than a requirement. It's more likely to make customers want to buy them. And the catalog is used as ongoing sales material after the Geneva event. Well, this is not a requirement. This is actually probably something to do with the end of the project anyway, and how it's going to be used later. So this will be more of a description of post-usage rather than in time boxes. So there we would have the answers in this one as A and B. Hopefully that's been clarified enough for you on this particular question on requirements and the level of detail. Again, if you look at the requirements chapter and the level within the different phases, it is described there if you need a bit more assistance. Otherwise, as always, contact a tutor for further clarification. Thank you.